I bet you didn't know how wild this week has been. Welcome to TrendStreamHQ, a name that sounds like it was either generated by an AI or a committee that really loves the word stream. I'm Spencer, or rather this script is Spencer, and I'm merely the disembodied, slightly exasperated voice guiding you through the digital labyrinth. This is your weekly trend decode for May 15th to 23rd, 2025. And what a week it's been. A week so packed it makes a clown car look like a minimalist art installation. We've had geopolitical tremors that could register on a seismograph, domestic policy shifts that'll make your head spin like a confused owl, and personal news about public figures that's, well, let's just say it's been overwhelming. So if you're feeling like you've been trying to drink from a fire hose of information, congratulations, you're a functioning human being in the year 2025. Our mission here, if we choose to accept it, and we have, because frankly the mortgage isn't going to pay itself, is to cut through the relentless barrage of headlines. We're not just skimming the surface. We're deep-sea diving into the murky depths of the news cycle to bring you the kind of understanding and foresight that might just help you navigate the coming weeks without completely losing your sanity. Or at the very least, you'll be more entertainingly informed about why you're losing it. We're going to dissect the big stories, poke them with a stick, see if they're still breathing, and then try to figure out what they actually mean for you, me, and that pigeon currently judging my life choices from the window ledge. From the health of former presidents to international student bans that seem, shall we say, counterproductive, and the ever-present hum of AI promising to either save us or turn us all into paper clips. We've got it covered. So buckle up, buttercups. Let's get started before another week happens and we all fall even further behind. All right, first up, former President Joe Biden. Yes, he's no longer in the Oval Office, which, depending on your political persuasion, is either a tragedy or the reason you can finally sleep at night. But his health, or rather the around his health, remains a recurring character in our national drama, like a guest star who just won't leave the show. This past week, some fresh tidbits, or perhaps vague pronouncements is more accurate, emerged regarding his physical well-being, prompting another round of speculation that's become as predictable as a sunrise or a cable news panel arguing about literally anything. Now, let's be clear, discussing the health of public figures, especially former leaders, is a tricky business. On one hand, there's a legitimate public interest, particularly given the immense responsibilities they once held. On the other, there's the basic human right to privacy, and the often ghoulish way the media and political opponents can latch onto any perceived frailty. This week's news, as it so often is, was filtered through the prism of carefully worded statements and anonymous sources. The official line is, naturally, that he's doing just fine, remarkably well for his age, or some other reassuringly bland adjective. The speculation, however, paints a different picture, or rather a whole gallery of different pictures, depending on which news outlet or social media echo chamber you stumble into. Is he secretly training for the Senior Olympics, or is he being propped up by a sophisticated system of pulleys and levers? Weekend at Bernie's style. The truth, as always, is likely somewhere in the less exciting middle. But that doesn't sell newspapers, or more accurately generate clicks, does it? Remember, this isn't just about Joe Biden, the man. It's about of Joe Biden, and how his health is used as a proxy for broader political arguments. For his supporters, any sign of vigor is proof of his enduring capability, a testament to his resilience. For his detractors, every cough, every stumble, every moment he searches for a word is amplified into a sign of impending doom, a validation of their criticisms. It's a political Rorschach test, where everyone sees what they want to see. And the media, bless their cotton socks, often plays right into this. A slightly longer pause in a sentence, is he losing it? A photo where he looks a bit tired, clearly unfit. It's a relentless cycle, fueled by the 24/7 news demand and the insatiable public appetite for any morsel of information, however unverified or context-free. For now, the official word is he's fine, and we'll just have to take their word for it or not. The choice, as always, is yours. However, it has been confirmed that Joe Biden was diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. And then, because the world never sleeps, and certainly never takes a vacation from being utterly terrifying, we had an incident at an Israeli embassy. Details are still emerging, as they always are in these situations, like trying to assemble a jigsaw puzzle in the dark while someone keeps stealing the pieces. But what we know is that there was a shooting, a word that immediately sends a chill down your spine, regardless of context. An embassy, theoretically, is a sanctuary, a small patch of sovereign territory in a foreign land. When that sanctuary is violated, it's not just an attack on a building, it's an attack on the very idea of diplomacy. The immediate aftermath of such an event is always a chaotic ballet of sirens, flashing lights, and heavily armed individuals looking very serious, as well they should. The news reports trickle in. Casualties, suspect descriptions, condemnations from world leaders, each one a small, grim piece of a larger, horrifying picture, and of course, the inevitable question, why? What was the motive? Was it a lone actor, a coordinated attack, a tragic escalation of something else entirely? These are questions that investigators will be asking for weeks, possibly months. In the meantime, the geopolitical implications begin to ripple outwards almost instantly. An attack on an Israeli embassy, given the, shall we say, and nature of Israel's relationships in many parts of the world, is never just a random act of violence. It's immediately loaded with significance, interpreted through layers of historical grievances, ongoing conflicts, and deeply entrenched narratives. Governments will issue statements, of course, strong condemnations, pledges of support, vows to bring perpetrators to justice. These are the standard lines from the International Crisis Response Playbook, Chapter 1, Page 1. And while these statements are necessary, they often feel like trying to put out a forest fire with a teacup. The underlying tensions that lead to such acts are rarely addressed by a strongly worded press release. Security around other diplomatic missions will undoubtedly be heightened. Ambassadors will be making nervous phone calls. Intelligence agencies will be scrambling, trying to determine if this was an isolated incident or the precursor to something larger. It's a tense, uncertain period where everyone is on edge and the potential for miscalculation or overreaction is dangerously high. The human cost, as always, gets somewhat lost in the geopolitical chess game. Real people were hurt or worse. And it's crucial to remember that amidst all the talk of state actors and diplomatic fallout, there are individuals whose worlds have been shattered. Chapter 4. Moving on to the hallowed, ivy-covered halls of Harvard University, a place so exclusive its acceptance letters are probably delivered by unicorns riding on beams of pure intellectual superiority. This week, Harvard, in its infinite wisdom, or perhaps its infinite capacity to generate baffling headlines, announced a ban on new international student enrollments from certain as yet unspecified countries. Yes, you heard that right. One of the world's leading academic institutions has decided that talent apparently now comes with a passport check and a computer says no for certain nationalities. The official reasoning, as is often the case with decisions that seem on their face utterly bonkers, is shrouded in vague justifications. National security concerns is a phrase being thrown around, which is the institutional equivalent of saying, because we said so, now stop asking questions. The lack of transparency here is frankly astounding for an institution that prides itself on open inquiry and intellectual rigor. Think about what this means. Harvard, a global magnet for the brightest minds, is now potentially slamming the door on future Nobel laureates, groundbreaking researchers, and innovative thinkers simply because of where they were born. It's like a Michelin-starred restaurant deciding to only source ingredients from within a 5-mile radius, even if the world's best truffles are 6 miles away. It's self-sabotage, dressed up as prudence. The impact on the students themselves is, of course, devastating. Imagine being a brilliant young scholar from one of these unnamed countries, dreaming of studying at Harvard, working tirelessly, only to be told, sorry, your kind not welcome. It's a slap in the face not just to those individuals, but to the very idea of meritocracy in academia. It sends a chilling message. Your talent, your hard work, your potential, it all comes second to your nationality. And what about the impact on Harvard itself? Universities thrive on a diversity of perspectives. International students bring unique insights, different cultural backgrounds, and new ways of thinking that enrich the academic environment for everyone. By restricting this flow, Harvard isn't just diminishing its student body, it's diminishing itself. It's choosing to become a less vibrant, less dynamic, and ultimately less influential institution. It's like a band deciding to kick out its most innovative members because their guitar solos were too foreign. This decision also plays into a wider, more troubling global trend of rising nationalism and xenophobia. Chapter 5. US Policy and Economic Shifts. It's that time of the week where we stick our heads into the whirring blades of governance and finance and try to make sense of the confetti that flies out. This week, as ever, has been a veritable smorgasbord of decisions, pronouncements, and numbers that either fill you with hope or make you want to start hoarding canned goods and learning how to barter with squirrels. It's a roller coaster, and the safety bar seems to be optional. One of the standout items this week appears to be a new initiative. Let's call it the Fiscal Readjustment and Opportunity Maximization Act, because these things always have names that sound like they were invented by a corporate synergy consultant who's had one too many espressos. The details, as they often are buried in hundreds of pages of jargon that only a lobbyist could love. But the gist seems to be a significant shift in, let's say, tax incentives for certain industries, while simultaneously streamlining red-cutting funding for others. Now, every time a government talks about streamlining or creating efficiencies, you should probably check your wallet, because it often means someone, somewhere, is about to get less of something they probably need. In this case, it looks like renewable energy initiatives might be facing a bit of a fiscal haircut, while incentives for, let's pick something at random, say, domestic fossil fuel exploration, are getting a rather generous boost. The economic indicators accompanying these policy shifts have been, to put it mildly, a mixed bag. Or perhaps a bag filled with a live badger and a hornet's nest. You just don't know what you're going to get when you open it. Inflation figures are doing a little dance, sometimes up, sometimes down, like a nervous guest at a party who can't decide whether to hit the dance floor or hide by the cheese platter. This makes it incredibly difficult for ordinary people to plan, their lives. Then there's the job market. We're hearing reports of robust growth in certain sectors, which is fantastic if you happen to be a specialist in, say, AI-powered pet grooming devices. But for other sectors, particularly those affected by the aforementioned streamlining, the picture is less rosy. It's the classic economic tale of two cities, or rather two workforces, one of which is being told to reskill for a future that changes every 6 months. The Federal Reserve, meanwhile, continues its high-wire act, trying to balance inflation control with avoiding a recession. Their pronouncements are passed with the intensity usually reserved for ancient religious texts, with every, however, and on the other hand, sending markets into a tizzy. It's like watching a bomb disposal expert trying to defuse a very, very sensitive device, while the entire country stands around offering unhelpful advice. And let's not forget, infrastructure. There's always talk of infrastructure. This week, a new plan was unveiled to revitalize America's crumbling, everything, which is great. We love new bridges and roads that don't swallow your car whole. Chapter 5. And finally, our quick tech hit, because no week is complete without a fresh dose of anxiety and wonder from the world of artificial intelligence. It's the gift that keeps on giving, or perhaps the Pandora's box that someone superglued open. This week, the buzz is particularly buzzy, like a beehive that's discovered energy drinks. We're getting tantalizing glimpses of what's next, and frankly, it's enough to make you want to either invest heavily or start building a bunker. First up, whispers and alleged leaks about Claude 4 are circulating. Yes, Claude, the AI that's always trying to be helpful, sometimes a little too earnestly, like an over-eager golden retriever that also happens to be a super-intelligent language model. Claude 3 was already scarily capable, writing poetry, debugging code, and probably offering unsolicited life advice. So what can we expect from Claude 4? Sentience? The ability to predict lottery numbers? Or perhaps just a more refined understanding of why humans are so obsessed with cat videos? The speculation is that Claude 4 will boast even more advanced reasoning capabilities, a deeper contextual understanding, and perhaps a slightly less apologetic tone when it inevitably tells you your brilliant idea is in fact terrible. The arms race in AI development is truly something to behold. It's like the space race, but instead of aiming for the moon, we're aiming for a machine that can convincingly argue about the best Star Trek captain. It's Picard, by the way. The AI will eventually agree. Then, on the hardware front, the tech world is positively salivating over the rumored collaboration between OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT, and Jony Ive, the design guru formerly of Apple. They're reportedly working on new AI-powered. What kind of devices, you ask? Well, that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? The possibilities are as vast as they are potentially terrifying. Imagine a sleek, minimalist device, probably in white or space gray, that anticipates your every need, whispers sweet nothings of productivity in your ear, and subtly judges your taste in wallpaper. Could it be an AI companion, a hyper-intelligent personal assistant that makes Siri and Alexa look like speak and spells? Or perhaps something more integrated into our environment, ambient AI that's always there, always learning, always watching? The involvement of Jony Ive suggests that whatever it is, it will be beautifully designed, user-friendly, and will probably make you feel slightly inadequate if you can't afford the premium version. It's the Apple playbook, now with added artificial general intelligence. What could possibly go wrong? These developments, Claude 4 and the OpenAI Ive mystery box, are just the tip of the iceberg, of course. The pace of AI innovation is relentless. Every week there are new models, new applications, new ethical quandaries that make your brain hurt. We're building something incredibly powerful, and it feels like we're still figuring out the instruction manual as we go along. It's like assembling IKEA furniture in the dark, except this piece of furniture might eventually decide it doesn't like the layout of your apartment and redesign it while you sleep. The potential benefits are admittedly enormous. And there you have it. Another week decoded, or at least thoroughly poked and prodded. From the ongoing saga of a former president's health, which seems destined to be a perennial news item, to the alarming developments at an Israeli embassy, and Harvard deciding that perhaps the world is a bit too much for its international student program. We've also waded through the murky waters of US policy shifts that feel like they were designed by a committee playing Mad Libs with the economy, and dipped our toes into the ever-accelerating, slightly terrifying world of AI. It's a lot to take in, I know. You probably need a lie down or a stiff drink or both. The world keeps spinning and the trends keep trending. It's our job here at TrendStreamHQ to try and make some sense of it all, to find the signal in the noise, even if sometimes the noise is so loud it feels like a heavy metal concert in a library. We believe that understanding these shifts, these tremors, these sometimes baffling decisions is crucial. Not just to be informed, but to be prepared, to be engaged, and maybe, just maybe, to help nudge things in a slightly better direction, or at least to know who to blame when it all goes pear-shaped. To ensure you receive every weekly Trend Decode summary like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. See you next week.